weather does seem like it's heating up today, although it hasn't been unbearable yet anyways. And what did I read today? It seems like the dominant news pretty much everywhere was the fact that apparently the former US President Donald Trump was shot at an attempt at an assassination, for example. And it deals with things, for example, them saying they want to potentially use things like drones too, which actually gets you to think. This one says, following Trump rally shooting, wider perimeters, more police surveillance drones likely at political rallies. The apparent attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump during a Pennsylvania rally Saturday will likely mean tighter security screens for political rallies, demonstrations, and other large events amid a ratcheting of political tensions across the nation leading into the contentious November election. For political rallies and other events involving elected leaders, those measures could include wider perimeters to check for weapons, a heavier law enforcement presence, and greater use of unmanned drones to assist with surveillance, according to Ed Davis, a former Boston police commissioner. Davis said additional security will likely be in place Provincetown on Saturday when Vice President Kamala Harris comes to Massachusetts for a fundraiser. Now, while that was kind of interesting too, if you guys remember, just the other day, there was that news where in the US they were warning people, do not fly your drones around certain areas because they mentioned the current US president would be visiting the area. It basically is a blanket, I guess, ban. It doesn't matter what it is. A drone, for example, a huge traditional manned aircraft. So it makes you wonder why in this case, for example, when you have, I would imagine, an equally high profile individual in terms of their elections, why wouldn't they have kind of the same type of airspace restrictions per se? So that's kind of interesting in this case here, why it was so laxed. Although I could imagine if they actually did use a drone, for example, one with things like a thermal camera and all that, it would have probably been real simple to pick people out. For example, hey, what's that figure standing out in the heat there, walking, for example, to that area with a weapon? Although apparently that's one of the controversies with this story, where they were saying it seemed like the people in charge of the security completely dropped the ball or ignored warnings and so forth. But it'll be interesting to see if they actually do start using more drones in these situations, or at the same time, will they actually implement airspace bans in general for situations like this? So I thought this story was kind of interesting to me in terms of learning, hey, what exactly happened? You would think there would be so much security in these types of events, huh? But apparently that wasn't the case. It says here, a fundamental security failure. How did a gunman open fire on a Trump rally? While it's difficult to eliminate every threat, some security experts said they were surprised that the shooter had been able to scale a roof overlooking the campaign event. That is the frightening and unanswered question facing the country and security officials after Donald Trump said he suffered a graze wound on his right ear while he was speaking in a field in Butler, Pennsylvania, and left the stage with a bloodied head. Secret Service personnel shot and killed the gunman, identified as Thomas Matthew Crooks of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, immediately after he opened fire. The FBI said a spectator was killed and 2 additional spectators were injured, but it was not immediately clear who shot them. The assassination attempt, in which Crooks fired multiple shots at the stage from a roof outside the venue's security perimeter, appeared to be the result of a grave lapse, perhaps the biggest since President Ronald Reagan was shot and wounded outside a Washington hotel in 1981. Security experts said it was difficult and perhaps impossible to eliminate every threat, particularly with long-range weapons and outdoor events. So again, just from reading everything and watching some videos, actually, that was the controversy on whether or not did these guys drop the ball or did they let it happen. For example, there were some interviews of people saying they were alerting the officials, but they didn't actually do anything for whatever reason. Or at the same time, there were videos, for example, where you can see there was a sniper, I suppose, aiming at him. That's what it seemed like anyways from the video I saw. It seemed like at first he was looking, he has like a target in place, wondering, I suppose, hey, is this guy a threat? And I guess with that type of delay, he took too long. If that's what happened, the guy opened fire and then the sniper took him out really fast. But it makes you wonder, if you see some kind of danger there, let's just say up in their rooftop, wouldn't you immediately alert everyone and say, hey, get the guy off stage or something like that? So it was really weird in terms of what was going on. And for perspective, a lot of people basically posted maps and diagrams to show you how close the person was, and it makes you wonder, how in the world do you leave all that space open?
On top of the roof. Look. There he is right there.
Where?
Right there. See him? He's laying down. You see him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
Yeah, look. There he is.
Because we have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people. Criminals. We have criminals. We have drug dealers. We have people that should not be here.
Right on the roof.
It's much tougher than it happens.
You went right on the roof again.
So it's kind of interesting. What would you think here? Again, there seems to be, I guess, two train of thoughts here. One, people are saying it was gross negligence in terms of people overlooking all these security holes. Or the other thing is people are saying somebody internally wanted it to happen. But either way, that is crazy. And we'll see, I suppose, whether or not they'll start using security drones and all that around these areas, huh? I guess that would make it more plausible that they would have blanket bans of drones too, just in general. No more people trying to take video footage and so forth of the actual event, although it makes you wonder too. You could argue it's for security reasons, but at the same time, can you imagine if someone was just flying their drone to document the situation, just like a normal camera on that day? You could have easily caught the guy there too, just as a regular bystander. So should people be able to do that as well in general? All right, see you guys later.